Now, I will tell you, I know it's an uphill climb. It's never a welcome thing to run against an incumbent, and especially an incumbent like John Thurston, who is a very nice guy. He's, as far as Republican credentials concerned, he travels the state quite a bit, going to Reagan Rockefeller dinners and Lincoln Day dinners, and has been consistent in that. But what we need is consistency actually in the office, especially in the two main areas I believe that the Secretary of State has jurisdiction over. One, election integrity, and secondly, protecting our state capitol. And in both of those, I believe that the current Secretary of State has really been AWOL in that. Of the 18 bills that we sponsored in the legislature, the current Secretary of State, nor anyone from his office, asked to testify on behalf of any of the bills. And they should have been, that office should have been front and center, saying that this is something that we support. The Secretary of State serves as the chair of the State Board of Election Commissioners. So he certainly cannot say, and if I'm fortunate enough to be in that position, can't say, well, that's something policy-wise that I should stay out of. Absolutely not. Should be front and center. As far as protecting the Capitol, and there's a lot of different aspects to that. One being our Capitol Police. I happen to believe, from what I have heard, that morale has never been so low as it is right now among our Capitol Police. They've been called on to do so much in the last year. If you remember the riots, the vandalism, the actual attacks on our state capitol that took place last year, and yet some of those that were on the front lines trying to push back on that were actually later dismissed rather than being congratulated for the work that they tried to do. Many of you probably have not seen the pictures of the defacing that took place of our state capitol, but it was despicable. Curse words were painted on the tunnel. The words "Black Lives Matter" were spray painted on the steps of the state capitol, and not one single word of condemnation came from the Secretary of State's office that day or the day after or the week after to attacking the people's house. The governor refers to it many times. The legislature refers to the Capitol as the people's house. And the people's house should have been protected. That shouldn't have happened. And I can promise you as Secretary of State, I will make sure that it never happens. Now, obviously, early on, I don't want to get into a whole lot of what we're going to be talking about, what I hope to be talking about as I travel the state, but it certainly will be a comparison campaign. A comparison between someone that, I think any of my legislative colleagues can tell you, win or lose on an issue, I'm a fighter. Well, thank you. I fought hard this session. Several different, I didn't just give up the first time that a ban on critical race theory or a ban on the teaching of the 1619 Project was turned away, unfortunately, by Republican legislators. And I think that they really were not quite, they were buying into the argument that it is not here in Arkansas, that critical race theory is not in our schools. Well, I'm here to tell you it is. Some of us just today received an email or a text showing, actually I saw an email that a parent has pulled their child out of the Arkansas Governor's School because part of the curriculum guide that has been sent to the students talks about teaching them about white privilege and how they are guilty of that because of their skin color. And that type of divisive teaching is not something that we should be embracing. It's not something that we should be allowing in our schools, and certainly not when we're teaching our best and our brightest We spend close to $1 million on the Arkansas Governor's School to bring these kids from all over the state, and then to do what I believe is akin to indoctrination. Is frankly the kind of thing that I saw many years back at Hendrix College, and we're finding out that it really didn't get much better just because it has now transferred to Arkansas Tech. So I'm a fighter on these issues, and I think that what we need in that office, whether it's protecting election integrity, whether it's protecting our state capitol, we need a fighter and not a figurehead. And that's what I hope to bring to this office, and that's the argument that I'm going to take around the state as I talk to county committees, as I go to various organizations. You know, I've kind of missed out on some of the really good community events like the Hope Watermelon Fest. I think I could probably win the watermelon eating contest.